Biden has already promised a new COVID action plan. My American friends, get ready. They are going to implement many things that they've managed to elsewhere that some of you have managed to escape. They're going to move forward on abortion. They'll open the gates to immigration. They're going to be 100% behind climate change. Their attitude to Israel is going to change. They'll rejoin the Iran nuclear deal. They'll boost support to NATO. They'll turn sour on Saudi Arabia, who is one of the main countries that stands for Israel in the coming Ezekiel's war that we're getting very close to. They're going to rejoin the Paris Climate Accord that Trump took America out of, that was signed in December 2016, just 4 years ago. They're going to rejoin who? And Biden is going to promote the new Green Deal, a green economy, just like Britain. These two states of Great Britain and America for 4 years have been patriotic, going back to the people, regaining their freedoms. And now, in one foul swoop, these two great nations are being caught up in the Green Deal. What is the Green Deal? It is the Great Reset, or the beginning of the fourth industrial revolution. It's a green economy, a radical UN proposal to eliminate all fossil fuels in just 10 years, to impose a new socialist program on the economy of these nations as well as the nations of the world. You see, the Great Reset plan is for the global economy. And do you know what it is? It is the Green New Deal on steroids, as people have said. What about Biden's campaign? Just last night I saw in the news that Biden has appointed John Kerry to stand beside him to be the special presidential envoy for climate for America. This is what he's going to bring in, this whole new agenda. And really hidden within this Trojan horse is old-fashioned socialism. John Kerry, for a long time now, has spoken about Build Back Better. It is his brand, along with many others. He's very close to Biden, and in fact their children went into business together. He is called the climate czar, and he's a big believer in the green economy. But you know what? Kerry is also a good friend of the World Economic Forum and a supporter of the Great Reset. Friends, the BBC and all these newspapers like the New York Times can mock people like me and call us conspiracy theorists. I'm giving you facts in this video, and I'm only touching the surface of it. Listen to what John Kerry actually said, quote, "This is a big moment," speaking about this year. "The World Economic Forum is really going to have to play a front and center role in defining the Great Reset with climate change and inequality, all of which is being laid as a consequence of COVID-19. What about Biden's good friend Al Gore? Oh yes, he's a good friend of Biden, and he's working in the background of this. Do you know Al Gore is on the board of directors? He's a member of the World Economic Forum. You see, Biden's going to bring in higher tax and push big business out of America. Again, that's what they want. There's going to be a loss of privacy and much more. In fact, Biden began back in 2017, the Biden Institute, putting his own name on it to train leaders for a new agenda. In 2017, when he launched it, in the main speech, this is what they said. They would not model the activities of the Biden Institute after the World Economic Forum. In the following week, after the launch of his Biden Institute, he met that week with Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum in order to develop a plan together how to go forward. Also, Biden, in case you don't know, he spoke at Davos in 2016 and 2017 as vice president to Obama in 2016, also accompanied by Kerry. And who knows, maybe he'll be the key speaker at at the Davos convention next year. I think it's very likely. You see, I'm talking about the rise of socialism in Great Britain, in Australia, in the nations of the world, in America. There is a grand takeover coming. And I'm giving you exact quotes, Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum. This Great Reset is the merger of socialism and capitalism. I have to emphasize it, lest someone tells you it's not true. I'm quoting, and you can find it. What is socialism? It was created by Karl Marx, that German who died in England with only 11 people at his funeral. And yet within 100 years, the map of the world was painted red. Red is always the symbol of socialism and communism. His form of socialism was actually called communism. So you see that Marxism, socialism, and communism, they're all interconnected. They're distinct, but they all come out of the same source. You see, Marx was an economist. And please remember, capitalism is an economic system. Socialism is an economic system. All of these are an economic system. What is socialism? It is an economic philosophy advocating public rather than private ownership. It attacks private ownership of business, of home, and of wealth, especially of the means of production, distribution, and the exchange of goods. In other words, making money. Socialism has always failed everywhere it's gone, and we don't have time to go through that. More government control, and they target the youth and the universities. Now, socialism in America, it is being repackaged. It's called democratic socialism. But you listen to them. They do talk about the end of private property. And they also talk about progressive capitalism. Please understand all these terms. You've got to understand a few of these terms so you know that when they speak, what they're actually saying. Klaus Schwab in his book also talks about rewriting the social contract of nations and of governments. This is fundamental to what nations are. What is a social contract? It is the term that is used, and again, most of us don't even know these terms. It is the term that is used on how to organize each one of our societies. It is a covenant, a compact between the government and the people, or the rulers and those who are ruled. Let me finish here. I've got so much to say, but I can't cover it all in this video, I'm afraid. Let me take you back to the source and the founding of socialism as we know it in our world over the past 300 to 400 years. And I take you back as we close to the French Revolution. Just prior to the French Revolution, there were certain French philosophers who wrote books, who gave talks, who created the ideology that created the French Revolution, which was pure, old-fashioned socialism. Listen carefully as we close. One of these men, Abe St. Pierre, wrote a book called The Plan for Perpetual Peace in 1717. In that book, he lays out a plan for bringing about world peace by doing away with sovereign nation states through creating a federation of nations. Do you hear what I'm saying? First in Europe, then in the world, by signing treaties and contracts or covenants or new social contracts, as well as by international law, having a united international law for all nations. What he said in this book, and this was the French philosopher that would affect the entire French Revolution, he said, we will propose this plan, then we will enforce it. He said, patriotism will be crushed by a heavy-handed police force. He gave lectures in Paris, and men like Voltaire attended them. He was setting forth this vision of a worldwide socialist government that all nations would be a part of. Another French philosopher who actually sat under his teachings for 2 years was called Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Listen about him. He became gripped with the vision of world peace accomplished by a world federation, and he republished Pierre's book, The Plan for Perpetual Peace, in 1761. He also wrote a book called The Social Contract in 1762 on a similar theme, stating that the ownership of private property was the main cause of all disputes and all wars. These French philosophers, just before the French Revolution, affected men like Adam Weishaupt in Bavaria in Germany, and also Nicolas Bonneville in France. Listen carefully here as I try to bring this to a close. Bonneville actually began to preach in the Revolution about a worldwide republic, worldwide revolution, a universal federation of nations. You want to know what the French Revolution was? This is what it was. It was never meant to be contained to France. It was to go global. It's all about world government. And it has never died. They still read these books. Listen to what Bonneville said, how it would come about. Through a slow process, over many generations, using democracy, they're going to bring in their plan for a worldwide revolution and a worldwide republic. He said that they would bring about an agrarian law, which means the redistribution of goods and lands for the common good of all people. It was to be the Federation of Nations. It would finally destroy Christianity. He says, we tolerate Christianity now, but finally we'll destroy it. One man who was a good friend of Bonneville was Thomas Paine. He was an Englishman who actually tried to jump in upon the American Revolution, and yet he opposed George Washington and called Washington an apostate. I believe Thomas Paine was an illuminist. I've got no doubt about that. I also believe Jefferson knew exactly what was going on, and that Jefferson was affected by these French revolutionary ideas. George Washington wasn't. Another leader in the French Revolution was Gracchus Babeuf, and a book was written about his conspiracy called The Conspiracy of Equals by another man called Buonarroti, who was the father of communism. This book, The Conspiracy of Equals, that contained the ideal of the French Revolution, socialism, that I've just stated here, of a world revolution, was contained in this book. Do you know who devoured it? Karl Marx. Marxism and communism and socialism did not begin with Karl Marx, but he read it in this book, all about the French Revolution, how to bring revolution to a nation and the world. And in fact, Karl Marx then promoted